indie pro wrestler and valet. She goes by the name of JJ Sparks. She's joining me right now. What's going on, JJ?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me onto the show.
Truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And I also want to thank you for being one of the few that liked my status on a certain McMahon who made his return this past Monday. But I will get your thoughts on that a little bit later in the interview. But we'll focus on
All
you
right.
obviously first. What made you decide to get into the wrestling business?
Well, I mean, I grew up a fan of wrestling. I've been a fan of it since I was 7 years old, and just absolutely fell in love with it. And I just decided that one day I was going to try it, and then I ended up graduating college, and then that's when I decided, okay, I need to do this.
Was was there any wrestler in particular that made you like, wow, that's what I want to do? Anyone particular that made you want to get into wrestling?
Well, growing up, like the first few wrestlers that I really noticed were Shawn Michaels, Trish Stratus, Lita and the Hardy Boys, and then obviously Stone Cold Steve Austin. So they're the ones that I was a huge fan of from the get-go. And I remember actually watching a match with Trish Stratus, and that was when I realized, hey, I want to do that.
Pretty much all those in the Attitude Era, and I know a lot of people miss those days. Wish those days
Oh, yeah, definitely.
wishes those days were still there, but of course, in the world that we live in, sometimes you have to go through changes, you have to evolve, and sometimes those changes are not popular. And speaking of Stone Cold, I'm sure you may have seen this by now, but there was a hilarious video of him trying a beverage other than alcohol, beer. He was trying cocktails, and my thought on that is once a beer drinker, always a beer drinker. It was probably a good thing that this was just some video after his career, him just doing this just for the sake of doing it. So, do you remember your first ever wrestling appearance? And if so, was it a match? Did you valet? And what company did you work for?
My first appearance was actually the night that I actually ended up getting or actually deciding to train and everything. My dad actually took me to a show, and he told me that there was this place in Middletown called Tough Pro Wrestling, and they did training there for pro wrestling. And I went there, and I talked to the promoter, and I talked to the trainer, and then I actually ended up doing the timekeeper's job that night. So that was really kind of my debut as far as being part of the show. From there, I went to being a valet, and then working my way up to wrestler.
What was it like in those days being a valet, just being there, seeing the action unfolds, getting involved physically? What was those days like being a valet?
Well, when I first started off, I was valet for a wrestler known as Cedric Blackhawk. And back then, it was really more of a learning experience for me. They were trying to teach me how to be a heel, but I couldn't quite just get it. And later on, it turned out that actually Blackhawk ended up getting injured, and from that point on, I didn't really have anybody to valet. So the person he was really feuding with at the time, or getting ready to feud with at the time, I actually ended up becoming his valet. And from there on, I actually did start to improve as a heel. So it was a good learning experience, and I've actually grown a lot from it.
So I've talked to a lot of wrestlers throughout the years, and they love being the heel a lot more than being the face. I guess that gives them more things to do, more things to work with, if you will. Is that the case for you? That's something you prefer doing more, being a heel rather than a face, or do you just do whatever the promoter wants you to do?
well, I mean, I've worked more as a heel than as a face. I think maybe like 2 nights I actually worked as a face. But yeah, I definitely enjoy being a heel more. I get to do more, and it's fun to play the bad guy. So
Okay, that's understandable. And I guess that's just been the perception. It seems like maybe back in the old days, maybe 80s or 90s, bad guys just get booed, regardless of how good the wrestler is or not. Now, in the current generation of wrestling that we see, seems like the bad guys are getting more cheers than the good guys. I guess that
yeah.
I guess that depends on who the particular wrestler is, but I guess that's just what I see, regardless of what company it is or what it's just certain guys that I guess based on their history and into the indies and things like that, people are like, we're gonna cheer for this guy no matter what. And I guess that's the perception, I guess. Uh, so, do you have any upcoming shows, upcoming matches you would like to promote, JJ?
Well, fans can catch me at Tough Pro Wrestling every Saturday night. I'm always there. um, I know, like, right now, there aren't really any, like, actual matches, like, big matches really scheduled for me at this time. I am currently in a feud with the upper management of PTW. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes here in the next 2 weeks, as they've got a big show coming up called Tough Mania, and that's not this Saturday but next Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there and how I'll play a part in that.
So as we get to the end of the first 2 months of the year, what are some of your goals you would like to set for yourself for the remainder of this year?
Oh, well, I definitely want to continue improving and learning. I was told from the get-go in this business, you never stop learning. You always learn something every time you're out there. And I would definitely say that's true. Another goal is that I want to get more matches. There's a good number of people that I would love to wrestle at some point in some time. And I hope that maybe this year, maybe I'll get a chance to wrestle a few of them. I know some of them are bigger names, so that might be a little bit harder, but some of the independent girls maybe might be a possibility. So maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get a chance to work with those girls.
If you can have a dream match with any opponent, it could be anyone for the indies, it could be for anyone for the pros, dead or alive, what would that dream match be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, she's retired, but I would love to wrestle Stratus. That is one person that, because I just looked up to her as a child, she was the one I wanted to be like, and if she ever came out of retirement, I would definitely want to face her.
One thing I admire about Trish Stratus, other than the fact that she is a very, 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 very woman, is that she is someone who really wanted to be a good wrestler. She really wanted people to look at her more than a pretty face. And she came a long way, dated back to the TNA days with Tess and Albert. And then she went on to become a seven-time women's champion. And now she's a WWE Hall of Famer. I mean, she put the work in. And the fact that she had a great rival in Lita who was already established as a wrestler, that definitely helped her as well. So I give Trish mad kudos for taking this seriously and really want to be the best wrestler she can be.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I could relate to her. That's basically my goal, is just to be the best that I can be. That's why I'm constantly trying to do anything I can to improve, whether that's just studying my old footage or studying other wrestlers and learning from them and seeing what they do and how I can not really like straight up copy off of them, but find a way to imitate it and make it my own. So, and she's just always been like one of my inspirations. And I actually did enjoy her feud with Mickie James to the point that it was very hard for me to even root for Trish Stratus because part of me wanted to cheer for Mickie James too. So that was probably one of my favorite feuds with her that she was involved in, along with her and Lita, obviously.
And I definitely can't forget the match she had with Victoria in that Chicago street fight. That one thing that I'll never forget is when Victoria smashed her in the head with the steel chair, and the reaction that the audience gave her when that happened. I was like, damn. Like, and back then, that this was quite honestly, this was like the Attitude Era, or pretty much at the end of the Attitude Era. But you're not getting that from the divas today. For what reason, I don't know, but they let their ladies do whatever, go through whatever, even those type of matches. And that definitely made me respect her for, she took quite a beatings. She got sent through a table. She went through a lot, but she could have easily just say, "I'm done. I quit." But she kept going. She lasted a lot longer than people thought she would. That's just another credit to her being the great that she is. Um, Now, JJ, we all watched Raw this past Monday, obviously, and when I heard those 5 words, or was it 4 words actually? Here comes the money. I was like, no way, that cannot be who I think it is. And here comes Shane O'Mac himself. I didn't think anyone could have a loud pop than AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble, but that may have surpassed it as far as the crowd reaction. What were your reaction when you saw Shane McMahon made his return this past Monday night?
Oh my goodness, I was so excited. As soon as I heard the "Here Comes the Money," I was like, "Oh, is he really coming out, or are they just, playing with our minds, making us think that he's going to come out?" And then, sure enough, he came out, and I was like, "This is awesome!" And literally, the crowd chanted the same exact thing. So, but I wasn't expecting them to actually put him in a match for WrestleMania. I thought maybe he was going to come out and, support his sister. But when they totally turned that segment around and basically had him go against his sister and saying, "Oh, you didn't deserve this," and, they basically led right into him with the match for WrestleMania against The Undertaker, I am really excited for that match now. I know Shane's up there, but, I've seen wrestlers who are older than Shane get in there and still be able to do it in the ring. So I'm kind of hoping that with this match that there's some extreme spots like what he did back in the day during the Attitude Era. At least one.
When I first watched the footage, I was thinking, my first thought was, okay, maybe this is going to be one of those once in a while things, and then we don't see or hear from him again. Because he seemed to be doing just well in his other ventures since he left. Was his first televised appearance in nearly 6 or 7 years. I can't believe it's been that long since Shane McMahon last seen on WWE television. And then he gets to go up against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. That was odd to me, but I guess he became Plan B when Plan A, as in Sting, albeit he is going to be at WrestleMania weekend being inducted to the Hall of Fame, but he's not cleared to wrestle. So Shane came into the play, and I guess that's who they wying with. Now, the only reason I'm definitely looking forward to the match is because of potential outcomes. A lot could happen. Maybe the Bullet Club gets involved. Maybe Sting gets involved, helps Shane McMahon. Just I don't know. It's just it just blows my mind of what could happen in the outcome. It could have that Triple H versus Sting feel, like people coming out of nowhere. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I hope he can do at least one more elbow drop on the announce table. That's what I'm hoping for too. He's gonna get his butt whooped, even though Undertaker's getting there with age too. But it's Shane O'Mac. Anything can happen. Anything's possible. So we shall see come April the 3rd for sure. Now, before I let you go, JJ, why don't you go ahead, promote your social media links. Where can people learn more from you, follow your career and so forth? Go ahead and promote your social media links.
All right. Well, I have a YouTube page that is youtube.com/JJSparx. And then my Facebook fan page is facebook.com/JJSparx. And then you can also find me on Twitter at twitter.com/wrestling_lady.
Awesome. So everybody go check out JJ Sparx, Tough Pro Wrestling. Show your support your local wrestling companies near you. Cincinnati, that city is very familiar because I used to live there. Cincinnati, Ohio, to be exact. I love Cincinnati. Great city, great town, great people. And they got some nice chili too. Just thought I'd point that out. One more question I want to ask before I let you go. Have you had a chance to see this Joey Ryan video when he proposed to his girlfriend by any chance?
I did see that. It was surprising. Like you just all of a sudden they're just wrestling, and the next thing you know, she gets distracted, and that's when he goes and gets the ring and proposes to her. So I actually am very happy for them. I wish them all the best, and I hope that they have a great future together and a happy marriage.
I was definitely shocked that happened. I mean, we've seen wedding proposals happen from time to time, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like that during a match. And Joey Ryan, he's known for doing all types of crazy stuff. I mean, I won't elaborate on what the latest videos have been posted of him. You just have to look for yourself. But but if this were to be true, then congrats to the new couple. Uh, yeah, it was pretty odd. But good for Joey, good for Laura. Congratulations. And JJ, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here to kick off the show. Continued success, and you have a great evening and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening as well.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.